Hello, my friends. Have you ever wondered where your name comes from? Or why it's your dad's? Why not your mama's? Or your mama's mama's? Or why not from some sort of pet crab? Or named after a fruit? Or a place? Or a feeling? Or the dreams of youth? What is your name? What is it anyway? What am I gonna say? Well, let's get into it. Okay, so are surnames sexist? And I mean like what's it, patronymic, I think is the word. Surname, so like I'm McGlue, and so that comes from my dad. My mum was McCartney, but I didn't get called Jamie McCartney, Jamie McGlue. So why? And so people say, that's sexism. It's giving, yeah, again, give the make it easy for the man. Give the man a higher position than the woman. And to fair enough. I mean, there's like a lot of obvious sexism in the world and in history. So, men are in general, the very obvious in general. There are exceptions, but the vast majority of men are physically bigger and stronger, even in the muscles, the way the muscles work. They work differently to the female body, and so and also psychologically, males are more likely to be um, aggressive or assertive. So, right, so you can see why throughout history, men were obviously kind of in various places. Even now, in various countries, they have women as like second-class citizens, um, and where women are treated, they have a lower position, and obviously animals dominate. Males dominate the women usually, except for those spiders where they eat the men. Um, so anyway, and they say, like on the witch burnings and all this, da da da. This is just another example of this whole patriarchal thing. And I'm going to give you my reasons for why I think that's not true. Um, and I think this is nice. Look, there's real sexism in the world, but thank God it's not everywhere. And this is one thing where we can go like, oh, okay, actually it's innocent enough, I think. So here's my argument. Just a pretty brief thing, but I think it makes sense. So uh, basically, I think uh, you have a choice, right? Take your, you can have one name, right? So, okay, you get married and the woman takes the man's name. Um, and then also the children have the man's surname, right? That's one way to do it. Another way would be that the children take the woman's surname, or even the man, when they get married, the man takes the woman's surname as well. Um, a third option would be you create a hybrid, like shout out to Bashan Zajir Lee, a good friend. There's people who like, oh, your father's surname is Lee, your mum's surname is Zajir. Let's put them together, Zajir Lee, hyphenate it. But then, that's another way to do it. So, or the the woman, what many people do these days, the woman keeps her own surname, and the children take the father's surname. That's quite common, right? So now, I think the reason I think it's having one surname in the family. I think it's good because it's like it's a symbol of unity and it's an embodiment of unity. Like, oh, we all have the same name. We are all one. We are all together. And you might think that, oh, yeah, we have unity. We don't need a name. But I mean, when you go hang out with the Joneses, and it's like Eliza Jones, Matthew Jones, and all their kids Joneses, and then you're like, oh, this. Are you sure that on some subconscious level you're not kind of feeling like, oh, maybe they're more on the same page than us? And there's countless divisive things within our psyches which push us apart. Hence why the divorce rate's so high. So how do we know that having a different name well, let's put it more positively, having the same name, how can we be so sure that that wouldn't have kind of done a little bit to make you feel more together, you know? And so I think, you know, it's quite nice. I think it's very beautiful. It's like an act of unification, you know? Um, and at the end of the day, they're just names anyway. You know, you are who you are. Um, a name is powerful. See my episode on names. What number was that? I don't remember. But I'm gonna guess 24. Could be wrong. Probably am wrong. But hey, it was the nature of name and number. Um, but anyway, so I think it's good to have one name. Now, so you could say I agree with that. However, why don't we hyphenate it? Okay, well, the problem is then that's not a sustainable thing, right? Because in the next generation, say you've got two people whose names are hyphenated. So mine is Azia Lee, yours is Macbeth Johnson. And then our children are going to be called, oh, this is Henrietta Ziagia Lee Macbeth Johnson. No, that's not going to work, right? So you're going to have to then which name do you sacrifice? We're back to the same problem, you know? Um, so it's not really a sustainable strategy. So then you could say, well, you know, why not, you know, the children take the woman's name, or even the husband takes. If we're going to say yeah all together, why is it that the woman and the children take the father's surname? Why not the other way? Why doesn't he take and the children take the mother's? And I think, okay, so here's the question: who should give the name and who should receive the name? Okay, so males and females, what is, you know, who gives, who receives? You know what I'm saying? So it's in the nature of the masculine and the feminine, and this goes also for homosexual couples. Well, it seems, in my experience, and according to David Data, who wrote The Way of the Superior Man, great book, in there he's talking about sexual polarity, and how even in homosexual relationships, you'll have one who's more masculine, one who's more feminine, and that when people are both very similar, there's less spark. But when you're a bit more different in that, you know, along that spectrum of, you know, gender, you could say, masculinity versus femininity, then it's more interesting, you know, and there's more of a dance to it, and electricity. And so this is, you know, in the nature of masculine and feminine, right, which is usually men and women, of course, both in terms of sexually, the man is penetrating, right? So giving, and the woman is receiving. But then also, you know, in a book called by Felice Dunas called Passion Play, great book about sexuality and kind of Eastern medicine, talking about using sexuality as medicine, basically, and how the ancient Chinese did this and perfected this. That even in psychological terms, this is what tends to be, you know, the man or the masculine person in the relationship, whatever, gives. Both, you know, will be more assertive, and the other is more receptive and takes it. But both have a beautiful role to play. And I won't go into it, but the point is, you know, someone gives, someone takes, you know, and so it kind of makes sense. Given that if the man is the masculine force who's giving, then it totally makes sense that the woman would receive, he would give the name and she would receive the name, right? And, you know, David Data or, you know, Felice Dunas would say, yeah, and that's what they both want. The man wants to give and the woman wants to be given, you know, nothing wrong here. Like, there's no sexism. It's just like, yeah, this is the natural way, you know? Or maybe there's a more masculine woman and a more feminine man. They could do it the opposite if they wanted. But it's natural, you know? And then, so I think that's the thing. Like, it's nice to have one name for the family, and it's natural that the yang principle gives and the yin receives, right? And so it's what's the problem, you know? And also think about this, just to finish off, like the man didn't choose his surname. I didn't choose McGlue. I was given it. So, you know, my partner's, you know, receives the name just the same way I received it, just from the universe. Here's a name, you know? And so at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we're not choosing our surnames. They're passed down to us. Usually some people, you know, Bob Dylan, maybe, honorable exception. But yeah, so I think it's nice, I think. For me, that was quite nice to feel like, yeah, I thought it was innocent. I always had the feeling that there wasn't anything wrong with it. And people were maybe getting carried away with, critiquing that as patriarchal, because I think it is nice to all be together under one word, and uh, for the man to give uh, as a is natural, and so yep, that's it. I'll stop talking now. Enjoy. See you next week, and may your dreams come true in the next 7 days. If they don't blame me, but I'm going to put out a prayer, good vibrations and manifestations to you.